and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Daniel, people who are watching Hard Lens Media, everyone, it's very important that we talk about the hypocrisy of the Democratic and Republican Party. Daniel, you said it best, that the Democrats are really good at rigging primaries. Republicans are very good at rigging general elections. But at the end of the day, both parties want to make sure that nothing really fundamentally changes. And each party tries to play its games with the other. And recently, it's been brought to everyone's attention that the DCCC, the also honorable DCCC, has been giving financial resources and support to Trump Republicans because they believe that these Trump Republicans win their Republican primary, said Democratic challenger can easily defeat them. Gee, that worked perfectly in 2016,
right?
I
was going to say, this is literally the Hillary Clinton strategy that got Trump. But that's, again, the thing that talks about Trump, that, like, I feel Trump is, like, evil in people's minds more than reality, because he was basically a standard-ish president. Mm-hmm. He tried to do some stuff that didn't work. He had an ineffectual governing ability. He really couldn't get a lot done, but he, like, seemed to be like he got us out, started the initial process of getting us out of Afghanistan. He deported less people from the border than either Biden or Obama did. So again, it's like Trump is to quote someone that used to work on the team, to be a president is to be a criminal.
Yeah. And
so it's like, okay, yeah, is he, can we classify him as evil? Yeah. Can we classify every president since Reagan as the exact same thing? Yeah. If Reagan ran in the Democratic primary today, would he be considered a communist? Yeah.
They would. They would definitely consider him to be a communist. I mean, let's face it, Daniel. The Democratic Party and Republican Party now are so corporatized and so extreme. They are the extremists. The centrists are the real extremists here, folks. Yep. And I will not apologize for that statement. They're the ones that want to make sure that nothing changes.
They're the people that make people want to vote on either side.
And people wonder how we got Trump in the first place. So
yeah.
Go ahead, go down. I want to give you
I was just going to say that it's like, everything that all our presidents do is make people more extreme. No matter what the action is, corporations always gain more power.
Exactly. I don't think I can really follow up with that, but here we go. I want to pull up this video again. Shout out to Case Study QB, who's wrongly being censored by Twitter. Let's talk about what's going on.
Former Trump administration official who's called the results of the 2020 election mathematically impossible and wrote as a college student in the early 2000s, the U.S. has suffered as a result of women's suffrage, now insisting it was satirical.
Thank you, President Trump.
But the Trump-endorsed Gibbs is also someone who the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee spent about $450,000 on for this ad.
Too conservative for West Michigan.
The amount was more than Gibbs had spent on his entire campaign at the time, seemingly designed to help Gibbs with Trump voters and boost him as a weaker general election candidate than the incumbent Republican, Peter Meijer.
Now, here's the thing, folks. We saw this play out in 2016. You would think the Democrats would learn the lesson, but see, they know what they're doing. They don't really care. Never forget, Trump used to be a Democrat, folks. He used to be a Democrat for the people in back.
You feel someone like Gibbs is a much more beatable opponent than Meijer?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. At the end of the day, Republicans decided who their standard bearer was going.
I absolutely love that their entire intro is like, the whole reason they're putting money behind this Trump-loving Republican is because they think they can beat him. Talks to candidate. Do you think it's going to be easier to beat him? I don't know. But by the way, that's a thing. This is a thing. From this story, I have a talking point for everyone that we can all use on people. We talk to your friends' family that are the Democratic supporters, staunch supporters, and they ask you to donate, and go, no, I don't want to donate to the Republican candidates. That'd be fine if I didn't, or something. Figure out your own phrase. But the Democratic Party, which is always running out of money, always needs more money. Oh my God, we failed at abortion. We need more money. Oh my God, my dog got hit by a car. I I need more money. They always need money. And then when you ask what are you spending it on, television ads, Republican Trump candidates.
Oh, Dan, holy cow. I'm so glad that you brought that up about how they're doing fundraising, especially with Roe v. because it just hit my head right there. There should be like an animation of a light bulb just reaching my head. Okay, do you remember when Roe v. Wade, got overturned in the Supreme Court and Democrats did that fundraiser? They raked in like millions of dollars. How much you want to bet that DCCC used that money from Vote Blue, no matter who people, shelling out their money to the DCCC and the Democrats? And all of a sudden, the DCCC is using that for campaign ads for Trump-like Republicans. That is so funny. Damn.
We can make that even more concise. The money that, if they bring it up, some amount of money that was given for abortion had to have made its way to Trump candidates.
Oh, well.
Hey, and people ask, why do you guys think both parties are the same? Because they are.
Look, Daniel, just vote harder, okay? What's wrong with you? Just vote harder. Just vote harder. Every one of you, vote harder. Miguel H., vote harder.
Going to be in this race, and they chose Mr. Gibbs.
The dynamic came at the expense of Congressman Meyer, who lost the primary by fewer than 4,000 votes.
I never expected the other side to as well double down in a cynical ploy to put forward the candidate they think is less electable.
These are U.S. seats.
Some Democratic voters in the Grand Rapids area district.
Go ahead.
You know what's really funny too that I'm missing that I was expecting to hear from this? Why aren't the Democrats proudly touting them getting a black elected official on the ballot? That's always a talking point for them. Just not now. I can't figure out why that might be the case. Maybe you guys in the comments might know. I don't know.
Well, again, I remember in 2016, before we started Hardlands, before we started any of this, you and I got a lot of pushback from people we knew about how when we came back from Philly, because we covered the convention and we actually snuck through the front door. We didn't go through the back door, through the roof, or through the sewers or anything else, or through a window. We walked through the front door. And I'll never forget what we saw and how Bernie Sanders supporters and delegates and Green Party supporters were being pushed around and violently assaulted by Hillary Clinton supporters. And we were saying, hey, look, there's a lot of all you are putting your eggs in one basket thinking Hillary Clinton could beat Trump. It may not go that way. And the thing is, now we got Trump-like Republicans coming into office, and they're not going to be any different than regular Republicans. They're not. And it's all look what they did to AOC, right? The establishment machine is going to bring in those Trump Republican candidates in the House and Senate, and they're going to make them fall in line very soon, just like what they did to Trump. So if anything, people wake up, stop voting Democrat or Republican. You don't have to see at the table. If you're trying to be the outsider running in a two-party system, guess what? The two-party system will bend you over and stick it up the wazoo. Okay, that's a fact. There you go. It's as simple as that. Also, let's see. One other thing here too. Illinois says we can only beat ourselves with money. The Republicans and Democrats are two parties. I swear. All right, let's play the rest of the
video. Literally, this is a situation where we gave too much money to the Democrats, so they had to hand some over to the Republicans to balance things out.
Hey, but vote blue no matter who, folks.
Vote blue no matter who.
Aren't fans either.
Politics sucks. I think that that was money that was wasted. Tactically, I guess I get it.
Well, it bothered me, and I know it bothered others.
But some GOP voters don't think Gibbs is the easier candidate at all, appearing at a Michigan rally alongside Donald Trump Jr., Kellyanne Conway, and others.
Tell me about why.
Oh, I think he is very strong.
By the way, can pause it real quick?
I think it's going to be really hard.
Yep.
With the Democratic voters segment that we just saw, how many interviews do you think they did that they're like, no, this isn't exactly what we want to hear? And everyone was like, this is all the other thing. Whenever you hear CNN or anyone else do these kind of interviews, notice that they're very restricted. Like, we've done a lot of interviews. We know how long they take. They're like, multi-minute events. So they're literally all just pulling like that 5 seconds. So none of these interviews, like this is just like, even if the interviews are real, which, it's real people they're talking to, they're effectively staged by the way that they cut the content on the editing floor. So we really have no idea what these people are actually saying to CNN, because they could have interviewed 10 people and picked those two. I mean, we've seen how they act when we've been physically at events with them, and they've been trying to cover stuff. They're usually there 20 minutes late, leave 30 minutes early, and the fact that they have someone with the microphone is usually more than we see. But I just want to remind everyone that all the responses that you're getting is a narrative that CNN is crafting.
Right. One other thing here too, folks. And this, I hope this isn't taken out of context, but I'm going to give credit to Trump and his supporters. When Trump lost the 2020 election, what did he do the next day? Yeah, he was complaining, but the days that followed, he actually held rallies. He got his people to come to his rallies and events. He's been in contact with his supporters, going to events, or even that having his said surrogates or family members doing events in his name to get people hyped up and still remember that, hey, Trump is still a political force. At the end of the day, credit where credit's due. Trump supporters will turn out. They will show up because Trump knows how to speak to people. He's been in show business for so long. I mean, yes, he went bankrupt 6 times or whatever, but he was able to use a system that Clinton and all these other corporate Republicans and Democrats created. He's able to get his people to turn out to vote. He's able to get his people to rally. Gee, Democrats, gee, AOC and Bernie, what's stopping you?
Yeah,
What? Go ahead.
I'm just like, that's the thing. It's like Trump loses and he keeps political momentum alive. The thing that we've been saying Democrats should have done from the beginning. When Barack Obama won, he shut down his movement. When Bernie Sanders lost, he went against the entire message of his movement.
Yeah.
When Joe Biden won, there wasn't really a movement. It was just like, a situation that we were in. And we had to get rid of Trump at any cost, even if it meant bringing him back, even if it meant proving all the things that they said were wrong about the Republican and Democratic Party. And it'd be really fun. You can tell CNN didn't edit right if they have someone go, "Isn't that what Hillary Clinton did in 2016?"
Well, see, Daniel, that wouldn't air it, and they'd probably censor you.
Or the political police. They had 10 interviews that 8 of them said that. So they just did the 2 that did. That's what I'm saying when they cut it. They don't even talk. They don't take the whole interview anyone does. They just take a sentence. Like, you could take anything we say out of context if you just pull a sentence out of it.
Agreed. All right, let's play this video.
Debate.
Many of Gibbs' supporters feel they lost their country in 2020.
We are in a civilizational fight. It's not so much Democrat versus Republican. It's crazy versus normal.
For Democrats,
we need every vote.
The stakes are similar.
This election is a referendum on our democratic ideals as a state and as a nation. There is nothing easy about this race, let me tell you. This is going to be a fight to the...
Absolutely.
I love this because what they're going to say right now is this election means everything. No election means more than this election. This election will determine the fate of the country. And if they lose, they're going to be, well, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I'm glad we spent the money. People got paid. We did our best. We could have maybe done some things different, but I think we ran a really good campaign. And the existential nature when they lose just goes away. And then if they win, the existential nature of their elections, it's not really that big a deal. I mean, it's just a seat.
Hang on, but it gets better. Hold on, let me just play a few more seconds of this.
The finish.
Now this isn't just.
Oh yeah. Never mind. He's not going to say anything important. So hold on. I'm gonna pull down this video because there's a follow-up video, Daniel.
Oh.
Our good friend Jake Tapper. Turns out the establishment Democrats in the DCCC edited him from a segment that he covered about the story that CNN was covering. Right?
What? The Democrats rigging something? That's absurd.
Well, here, check this out. So check this out. Jake Tapper calls out the DCCC for editing out a clip where he references the DCCC using the Pied Piper strategy. Go ahead,
it's a sad thing that the mailing list of the DCCC is larger than CNN, so they're not that worried about it.
Yeah, that's very true right there. And don't worry, folks. Guess what? Because we're ragging on CNN, we're gonna be. This is a CNN bashing episode. You know what video is gonna come next, folks.
We should note, last Wednesday we did a segment here on The Lead about John Gibbs, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee took part of our segment, and they've been running an edited version on Twitter. They posted the part where I noted Gibbs' previous opposition to women voting, but somehow they cut out the part where I noted that the DCCC has contributed to the Gibbs campaign by funding almost $500,000 worth of ads promoting him. First, I'm going to play what aired here on The Lead. Then we're going to play how the DCCC edited out my words to hide the role that they played in boosting him. Get this, a congressional candidate supported by Donald Trump, by the way, whose past writings and associations indicate that he is against women voting. We're talking about John Gibbs. You might remember him because with some financial support from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee with ads, we thought he would be an easier candidate for their Democratic nominee to beat. Get this, a congressional candidate supported by Donald Trump, by the way, whose past writings and associations indicate that he is against women voting. We're talking about John Gibbs.
Gibbs is a former Trump administration official.
We just wanted to set the record straight since apparently the DCCC cannot be counted on.
God, I can't wait till you get fired. I can't wait till he gets fired.
You know what's so funny about this? Let's see. That's so they're like, hey, only we can edit stuff out of context. They're little people that don't matter. You don't do the taps. You don't get his stuff out of context.
You know what? By the way, again, this is a chance for me to really rag on CNN too, folks. Because again, Dan, how many times have we seen corporate media just give us a whole bunch of BS and twist the stories about what happened to Bernie Sanders in 2016, even though Bernie Sanders let it happen to him, and in 2020? How many times have we been yelled at by people, at least in higher up positions in the Democratic establishment, or is that within the activist community saying, "Oh, you guys are just overreacting, think the Democrats are just going to let this happen or just support Trump"? No, we were right. Daniel and I were correct on everything that's been playing out. Did we want to be correct? Did you think we want this? No. And I think everyone needs to wake up to the fact that if you support the corporate media or the two-party system, well, then we are going to treat you like morons. We're not going to call you morons. We're going to treat you like morons until you start showing some intelligence. Because if you vote Democrat or Republican, I'm going to look at you and think, oh, gee, it must be nice believing in a world where Santa exists and leprechauns and tooth fairies and Sasquatch and so much more. It's nice to live in a fantasy. But Daniel and I and all of our audience, you've seen it. You live in the world of reality. The two-party system, they're friends with each other. I want to give a shout-out to also Eleanor, real quick, who said, Don Lemon is mad that he has to get up early now. Poor multimillionaire.
Also, I think we had a super chat a little bit earlier.
Yes, we do. I want to keep this in the segment, too, because it's actually relating. Also from Rockfin as well. First from Mahmoud Rani, joining the Dems to push them left is as effective as a Jew joining the Third Reich to make them more pro-Jewish. Good luck with that. Also, I want to acknowledge a Rockfin super chat that we got from Roger Meadows. Speaking of Reagan, this Democratic practice of getting involved in GOP primary goes all the way back to 1966 California gubernatorial primary, where they made sure the more moderate GOP candidate lost to the more crazy right-wing candidate of that time, Ronald Reagan. Dan, here's my talking point. Abolish all political parties at every level of government. Be a party abolitionist and watch this crap stop. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Roger Meadows. But Dan, we're not done with this segment just yet. Oh. Now, I want you to just give your final. Did you have any other final words about Jake Tapper being a douche, or obviously the DCCC donating money to Republicans?
I think we've said all that needs to be said.
Then great, because you know what? How can I end a segment where we saw two videos from CNN without kicking CNN even further? Case study QB. This is a video that I will forever play because honestly, if I could punch at CNN, I will. I'm going to do it, folks. We're going to end this segment on a humorous note. Daniel, sit back, relax, everyone. Enjoy.
Everybody knows by now that CNN's hitting rock bottom. Their ratings have hit record lows. Chris Cuomo was fired. Jeff Zucker forced out. Host Brian Stelter's days are numbered, reportedly, and we can see why. His show last week getting 56,000 viewers in the demo. Now, for context, I was going to name shows that rate higher than that, but we don't have time. I'd have to read you the entire TV guide. But when it rains, it pours. Not only has CNN lost viewers, they've lost what little respect they ever had. When CNN approached Republican candidate for Arizona governor, Kari Lake, things didn't go well. Watch.
Hi, Harry. Hi. Nice to see you. CNN. You don't have a mask on anymore. What's going
we're
on?
outside. Do you have a minute to
Well, we're
chat?
6 feet apart.
Do you have a minute to chat?
I'll do an interview.
Okay.
As long as it airs on CNN Plus. Does it still exist? I didn't think so because the people don't like what you guys are peddling, which is propaganda. Thank you.
Again, I will mention again the moment in time where I said, no more CNN. You will never be taken seriously by me. Again, it was that Malaysian flight when Don Levin's like, maybe it was a black hole that did it.
I wonder what kind of morning programs good old Don Lemon's doing right now. He's probably like crying himself to sleep. Like, I gotta wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, small violins, buddy. I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to stock stuff at Costco. Okay, big deal. Now go ahead and cover what happened at Malaysian air flight. All right, we still haven't found the mystery.
Yeah. That's the other thing with like CNN. It's just like it sucks because CNN, like, okay, Fox News is obviously very much the Republican Party arm of the Republican Party, effectively. By the way, I always love that Fox News, for the majority of its history, was owned majority by an Australian and the Saudi family. That still elicits very strong responses when I tell people that like Fox News. They never see that coming, and I'm like, how did you not know? And then NBC is always very staunch Democratic propaganda ticket, and CNN's like whoever's in power, they kind of gravitate towards, so they never really get a dedicated audience. And like ever since Wolf Blitzer left, I mean, he's maybe still there, but I don't think anyone noticed him. It's just been downhill, but it really never was. Let me take that back. It's actually never been downhill in the first place, because to be downhill, you have to go up a hill at some point in your history.
Oh, Dan, stop beating up CNN. They're already dead. That's like you see a person on the ground and you get that one last kick, and it's like, okay, that last kick wasn't. That's damn.
No, you know what it's like? It's like you're rearing up for that kick. You're about to kick, and then you look and you're like, it's not going to make a difference.
But then you kick anyways. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. I think there's nothing else more to say, but CNN, you're a joke, and we laugh at you.